Welcome to Woman show where we believe truth plus transparency equals healing. And we are here tonight to just have a candid conversation. I'm happy to have my girls in the building, the beauty flies. Hey Theo, hey Netta.
Hey.
Hey.
How y'all
Hello.
doing? How y'all doing?
Doing well. Thank you.
So when we come on, we love to start with a moment of gratitude. And let's do that right now. So anybody who wants to come in first, we come in. What are you thankful or grateful for today?
I am thankful for each of you. I'm thankful for my family. I'm thankful that we're healthy and strong. I could go on and on, but I'll stop there.
All right, come on in, ladies. Come on in. Who's next?
I am thankful for so many things. I don't even know where to start. I am thankful that God just shows up through other people to remind me of who I am and that I am on the right path. I am thankful for good doctor reports. I am thankful to be here. I'm thankful for you guys. I am just really truly just thankful for so much today. Like Netta said, I could just go on and on and on.
Come on in, Gina. We glad to have you back.
Thank you. I'm glad to be back. And today I'm thankful because it's my mom's birthday.
Oh, happy birthday.
Yes, and we got to celebrate it yesterday. We surprised her, like she was legit surprised. So my sister and I, some of our children. I say some of ours because I got the most. Like I got the most. I got four. My sister got one, and I got four. So two of mine was there. One of hers was there. So and she really was. She enjoyed it. She was surprised, and of course I made her cake.
Yes.
So I was grateful that she enjoyed it and that everyone had a good time.
Good.
And yeah, so I'm grateful for more things than that, but I definitely am grateful to see her for another year.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
I am just grateful for clarity, direction, just being used as a vessel and just knowing when you are walking in the right direction because success leaves clues and God leaves breadcrumbs, for us to follow. So, for anybody listening, if you feel stagnant and stuck and have no movement, you might just need to pause because you may just be going in in the wrong direction. And sometimes God wants you to stop so things won't grow, right? If things are not growing, you have to just reevaluate and say, okay. So I'm just thankful that my territory has been enlarged and things are growing to let me know that I'm going in the right direction. So today we just gonna have a really genuine conversation because when I see things and us as the beauty flies, we as the beauty flies, we can shed some light on something. I just like to talk about because some things are just a teachable moment to not attack people, but to learn from it and grow from it for yourself, right? So I saw Monique, go off on stage. I saw a clip of her going off on stage on DL Hughley saying, his contract was this, and I was supposed to be the headliner, and the money ain't right, and just going off, he a B, calling him a bitch ass nigga, and saying DL, what does it stand for? Down low. She just really, really went off in front of like a crowd of people who came to see some comedy. So I just wanted to have a teachable moment with the beauty flies tonight on one, social media etiquette, two, self-control, and three, professionalism. So did you guys see this clip or have you guys heard anything about it?
I didn't see the clip. I saw a Facebook post where they posted part of her contract, part of his contract, and then I saw like some caption, but I just bypassed it because I thought it was something old. That's one. But two, I was like, I can't even for me, as soon as I saw it and it looked like it was negative energy, I was like, I'm gonna keep scrolling. Right. But I didn't realize it just happened recently.
Yeah, it just happened like 2 days ago. And I just love to talk about these things, not to gossip, but everything for me when somebody said, because y'all know people send me stuff in my inbox to ask me, what you think about this? What you think about that? And for me, it's turned into not a gossip mill, but a teachable moment, right? So when I see two Black people arguing back and forth in the public eye, and when I see them showing private contracts, I have to ask and tell us, right? I never have to prove myself to anybody. And I hope you guys feel the same way. Like, I don't have to show anybody my contract. I don't have to yell and scream. And I was so surprised at DL Hughley as a man, right? Because I'm so used to the men around me watching women bicker and they don't get into the bickering. So I was totally confused. So let's talk a little bit about self-control. So just come on and let's just talk about self-control. We could talk about it
So
biblically, or we could talk about it just in the natural. Gina, you was going to say something?
I was, you know, when we joined you as co-hosts, right? And we said that we were going to talk about different things. Some of them were going to, be experiences we share for growth, for information, for empowering each other and men and women that are in our ages, right? One of the things that I continually thought about is I have to be mindful of what I say, even though I'm an adult and I can say what I want. I have to think about the people that are around me. I have to think about my family. I have to think about my children. I have to think about my husband and my relationship, and I just can't um, say whatever I want because I
Come on,
have a
Gina.
platform.
Come on.
So there are times when I'd actually be in mid thought, getting ready to say something. I'm like, that's not cool, or let me say it another way, because somebody may get hurt. And see, we know that this stuff doesn't. This leaves a carbon footprint.
Mm.
So this is going to be around when we're not. And I have a grandchild, and I pray that I have generations to come. I don't want them to see their elder talking smack or misbehaving or thinking it's okay to use a platform that I was invited to disrespect someone else.
Woo!
So
I'm
that's how I
sorry.
feel about
But
that.
and that's what I was gonna say. I was gonna say, one, it's first of all, I guess to some people they're influential, right? There are people who follow them and see them as influencers. So, what are you demonstrating to those individuals? Too, like Regina said, you invited into, even though it's a comedy show, that's somebody's comedy club. That's somebody's stage. So you're invited into somebody else's house, for lack of a better word, and you show up and you show out, and not in a positive way. And two, what are you demonstrating to our younger generation, right?
Mm.
What are you demonstrating to them? And I'm sure, I don't follow both of them like that, so I don't know if they have grandchildren or children or whatever.
Yes.
But the reality is that also impacts your family, because the other side of it, as celebrities, your family's already probably more in the limelight than they want to be. And then when you do something like that, it, like, if you do have young children or you do have grandchildren and they got to go to school or they have to go somewhere, they might end up being teased, or they might end up being, whatever, right? Bullied, or whatever the case may be, because of something that you did that didn't necessarily have to be done. Like, I don't even know how it started. So I'm not even know how they got there, but I'm wondering if they even realize how they got there, because I think sometimes one person starts it, and then at some point someone's probably saying, well, how did it even get here?
Right, right. We have to, and if you just tuned in, you're tuned into the Woman to Woman show. And we're just having a conversation about Monique and DL Hughley having a blow up in public Monique on a public stage in front of hundreds of paying customers to watch comedy, and she just lost it on that stage about her contract. and women not being paid, and black women this and black women that. And we just wanted to have a teachable moment for our viewers as well as ourselves, because one, I saw so many women, black women, who were defending her because she's a black woman and we're not being paid right. I don't defend poor behavior in any way. Like, we are not being paid right, but there is a way to do it. Even if she wanted to have a press conference on Fox News 7, Channel 7, Essence, Ebony, even if she wanted to write an article to say, and this is my contract, and this is how this was supposed to go. There is a way to handle things, and I'm tired of, and this is just my opinion. This is not the opinion of all the other ladies. I'll let them speak for themselves. But I'm tired of us supporting negative behavior just because it's a black person. I'm tired of black media, and I'm going to say it, Essence, Ebony, all of these outlets, BET, and all these outlets supporting a woman, a black, just because she's a black woman. We're not on this. We're not supporting a black woman going on a stage and cursing out a black man. You're wrong. She's wrong. The interaction that they're having right now, they're both wrong. Y'all are just wrong. But the way this started, and if you don't know, Monique just got back in, her and Lee Daniels made up over some things that they were going through. And everybody was happy for her, like, yay, finally the world is hearing her. And then you do this. Black women, we can't do things to make us look like the problem. We can't. I'm no matter what you say, if you have problems, like DL Hughley posted, he said you had a problem with Oprah, you had a problem with Tyler Perry, you had a problem with Lee Daniels. He named several people. Sometimes we got to look in the mirror and say, I'm the common denominator. So I just wanted to say, and then I'll pass the mic. I'm not supporting any black woman who can't control herself on a stage where people have come and spent their money. I'm not supporting that. I'll support her not being paid properly. I'll support that all day. I'll post it, support it, but I'm not supporting poor behavior. Come on in, ladies. Netta?
Yes, I'm going scripture.
Come on, girl.
In Matthew, I'm looking at it now. It says there's a connection between your thoughts, your words, and your heart. For the mouth speaks what the heart is full of.
Well,
so this is much deeper than an outburst on stage. There's a heart issue. And so when we look at ourselves, that's where we have to start. What's in your heart? What's in you is going to come out of you. Woo. And so I just encourage each of us to consider, who do we think we are to speak to another person that way? There is something called respect. And it starts with respecting ourselves.
Ooh.
Because that's a reflection on the individual who's making the comments, not necessarily who the comments are about.
Woo. Thank you, Netta.
Right.
Gina, you want to come in?
Well, hey, good evening, ladies. I did not know anything about this. I mean, I saw your post, Trey, but I didn't really know what it was about because, again, I don't follow them. So I didn't know what was going on. But, you have to have self-respect for yourself. And anytime anyone pull you out of character, and it could easily be done, but you have to have self-control. I mean, you guys know I just went through a whole personal situation and I found myself being pulled out of character and I didn't like it. However, when I got to the event, everything that was said behind closed doors, when we got to the event, we was able to control ourselves and move accordingly, correctly, and no one knew what happened. But I just didn't like, thank God it happened behind closed doors, but I still didn't like that. So you have to be mindful when someone pulls you out of character, like Netta said. And it had a lot to do, my situation had a lot to do with heartstrings and things like that and things that was not said. But I was able to and everyone involved was able to handle themselves accordingly. But to get on a stage and just, I'm like you, I don't condone poor behavior no matter who it is.
Mm.
So
And our Black media outlets, we have to stop doing that. We need, as women, as Black, we need to be held accountable, right? To somebody to say, you know what, I know you were upset, but that wasn't the right platform and the right way to do that, right? I stand behind you, I support you. But I said before, I love my core, I love my tribe, I love you guys because y'all don't mind gently course correcting me to say, no, you're wrong. No, you shouldn't have said that. No, don't do that. So we have to really be mindful of that when we are supporting poor behavior and expecting a positive result. So let's talk about professionalism. And I'll start with you, Theo, because I know that you are HR. So I thought that was just so unprofessional. Not only wrong, but unprofessional.
I mean, I think, you know, HR, not HR, whatever. I do think I think it was unprofessional, one, but I also would think, just thinking of contracts, right? And I'm thinking most have clauses where the information in there is not supposed to be openly disclosed, right? I believe. You know, so, but I do think it's unprofessional, but I think it also just goes back to just character. I think it goes back to self-control, emotional intelligence, right? And like Netta said, when you don't work on the inner self, professionalism goes out the window, unfortunately. Like, because your emotions just take over and you don't think of what you're doing because you're just in the moment. And so it definitely, to me, was unprofessional. Like when I just saw the contrast, like I didn't even see the clip of what she said. I just saw the contract and I was like, wait a minute, are they both showing their contracts? Like, to me, that was unprofessional.
Can we say ghetto? Can we just use the word ghetto? Like they was on there talking about, I got receipts. I got receipts. I'm like, y'all 50 something years old. One. Secondly, I just want to address, you know, two wrongs don't make a right, right? So I understand that she attacked him, but to even respond to that, like Netta said, is a level of something inside of him that
for both of them, yeah,
that will make him attack, or to, you know, just to I wouldn't even respond. I'm just so in a space at a certain age of, I don't have to respond to trash. Like my mother always said, if you argue with a fool, there becomes two fools, and nobody really knows who the fool is. So I'm quick to just, you know, be quiet and just say, okay, well, if that's the way you feel, then okay, but I don't have anything to prove, especially when I know I'm not doing anything wrong to anybody. And just to be so ghetto, and I was so taken aback by DL Hughley as a grown Black man with children. I think he has grandchildren, to respond to a woman like that. Like most men don't bicker, they fall back. So
but I mean, and like I said, I don't follow them, but there has to be a history. Like I like there has to be some type of history between the two of them that, like, it even showed up like that. Because I mean, it just sounds crazy. And I also truly believe that, like you said, you know, women are not paid the same as men, right? And it's happening through Hollywood, it's happening in corporate America, it's happening all across the place. But I think Monique, just coming out of a situation, right, has enough, I would say, people who are right now in her corner, because they back that she already went through this experience, already experienced not being paid what she's worth. So I'm sure she probably could have sat down with some people and say, hey, you know, I did this show, I'm not too happy about it. You know, I felt like I wasn't paid what I should be paid. Let's really start, let's start a productive movement. right? Let's deal with it in a productive way. Get people behind you who can support you, who can help make some change, right? But what you did is you just really, like we unfortunately happens in our community far too often, is divide. Because now we got the people that are on this side, we got the people that are on that side. We're distracted by the bickering, so we're not really looking at the main problem right now, right? Because everybody's focusing on this interaction that no one's really even focusing on. All of this happened because she's upset about once again not being paid what she felt she was worth.
And they said it was the promoter who was the problem, not Monique and DL.
And that's what I was going to ask. I was going to say, you know, honestly, the contracts are made individually, right? Like she made her contract with someone, he made his contract with someone, right? So my thing was going to be, did DL Hughley even know that she was making less money? Like you're attacking someone that didn't make the decision on what you were going to be paid. He just signed his contract.
Right. And
he signed his contract saying, I'm making more than Monique. I'm making less than Monique. I'm making the same as Monique. He said, these are the terms of my contract. I'm signing it.
Right. Netta?
Just a couple things. First of all, it takes more than one person to argue. So if they just, one person, whoever started it, just the other person don't respond. That's the mature thing to do. Second of all, this is not going to benefit either of them
or
in
us.
the long run. When you right, or us, it makes us as a community look poor. But who's going to want to do a contract with somebody who's a loose cannon? That's, I mean, that's if you think you're not making money now, this didn't help.
Come on now. Come on,
Netta. And just think about, again, the generations that are watching. You have a platform that's supposed to be used for good. That's why we get these opportunities. People died generations ago for us to have opportunities. And we can't blame anybody in this situation for diminishing access to opportunities if behavior is going to show up this way. This impacts the whole culture, even though, like, some of us on this show have no idea of what happened. There could potentially be negative impact on us for something they've done.
Because they are representing us as a people. They are, I'm sorry, they represent us. We're not the only people watching each other. Like, Black people are not the only people watching DL Hughley and Monique. Okay, other people are watching y'all act a fool on social media. There is something, again, tonight, if you just tuned in, this is the Woman to Woman show, and we're just having a teachable moment from Monique and DL Hughley going back and forth with each other on social media, outright on the stage. We're talking about professionalism, we're talking about self-control, and we're talking about social media etiquette. Social media has so many of us going crazy, right? I call it the court of social media. We want to sit on there on a witness stand. We want to bring the other person, the defendant and the plaintiff, and we want to have society decide who's right or who's wrong, when it's not going to result in anything. It's not going to change that contract for either one of them. Does anybody really care right now who was headlining? Like, does anybody really care? And we as a people are always divided. And this is the sad part about this one. It's a Black man and a Black woman. It would be sad if it was two Black men or two Black women, but we've been trying to unify for so long. We have been trying to come together with Black men and Black women. Now we have women who are condoning Monique's behavior because she is a Black woman. And then we have men on the other side saying to DL Hughley, that's why we don't mess with these Black bees, right? You know what I'm saying? You know, comedy is, and everything really is a man's game, right? We get invited in. It's just the reality. Until we start our own movements, which we have some, like our women's conferences and different things like that, but the comedy stage is dominated by men. DL Hughley said that he was the one that approved her. Like everybody has to approve you being on it. He said, we have to learn how to control our emotions as women. And this is why the old boys clubs and the men that have things, they say, we don't want them black bitches in here. You know, they don't know how to act. You know, they don't listen. You know, they're going to have a fit if this is going on, if that's going on, which again, nobody's condoning that behavior. But when we get our foot in the door, we have to use it for an opportunity to change the dynamic in a positive way. Like Theo said, even if your contract wasn't right, or even if things didn't seem right, you just got back with Lee Daniels and other people who were like, yeah, we glad Monique is back. Anybody would have sat down and had a conversation with you. Anybody. But if you think back, and it's sad to say, of how she came, like if you just go back and look at the videos of how aggressive she was and how nasty she was about Steve Harvey and how nasty she was about Oprah, like Netta said, ain't nobody gonna give you a contract now. And we have to be careful. Self-control, I say it all the time, is the beginning of winning. When people can control your emotions, you become a puppet to the world. When somebody could push your button and make you yell and scream and do this and do that, they make you take yourself out. Nobody ain't gotta say nothing. Oh, if I can make Trey yell and scream and look crazy, let me just say this little thing, or let me just post this, or let me talk to this person and make her look crazy. So other people will be like, oh, she always going off, don't invite her.
Well, who else was on the lineup also? Like, because
I think it was all men.
Because I was going to say, how does it impact, you know, depending on even the lineup, right? So it then like kind of puts a different mood and tone in the audience, in the whole arena. And so how does that impact like the people following her or whatever? So it kind of like impacts the whole show at that point, depending on where she fell in the lineup. Like whoever was following her or coming before, you know, whoever was following her, right? Now you got to follow this. You got to come and say, how do I get this audience back to a place of where they want to laugh, right? Get out of that shock.
Right.
So that's the other thing. You got to think about the other people who were in the lineup.
Right. We have lost. Go ahead, Regina. You're on mute.
Okay, I'm just thinking about it, just bringing me back to Will Smith and
right.
That's all I keep thinking. Like the Will is the Chris Rock all over again. Like now everyone was shocked. The show couldn't go on. So now here we are back again as a community. Now we back to this.
All because of a lack of self-control. Right. All because of a lack of self-control.
Does she have a circle?
I don't say that again, Netta.
Does she have a circle of people who love her?
Say that again, Netta. One more time.
Does she have a circle of friends who love her?
Because apparently this goes deeper than that. It to me, it goes deeper. It goes to childhood. It's something that happened to her. And I'm just thinking, it just, you know, the core of the problem, because Oprah, Steve Harvey, this one, that one. I think I saw her with Jill Scott. I went in New York. I went to see Jill Scott, and she was the comedy. And didn't particularly care for her. She was hitting on all edges, and she was real rough. So I was like, okay, I didn't particularly care.
You know? And you know what, too? Like Netta said, does she have a circle, right? And this is what this makes me think. When people don't have a circle, like sometimes I see people online, right? And don't judge me, y'all, because I'm human. And I see somebody in a particular dress, and I'm like, well, where's her friends at? Because I would never, ever let Theo go out in something that wasn't, and I wouldn't say it mean or nasty, like, oh, you look a hot mess. I say, do you have something else to wear, right? But there's some people that can't handle that. Like nobody can't tell them nothing. So when you see these people like that and you say, this is like the 99th time she was a victim and yelling and screaming at somebody and nobody's saying nothing. So it has to be a question of, Are they afraid to say something, or have they said something and she told them, mind your damn business? Because you know you got them people, oh, you need to mind, don't tell me, it ain't your situation. And that's a level of growth. She's a woman of our age, and I can't see myself. And I mean, the Bible says we do have to judge. There's certain ways to judge to course correct the person. I can't see myself behaving like that for anything.
Well, I am praying and hoping that there is someone that is talking to her on the sidelines, behind the scenes, not being vocal in the media, not coming out and saying you did this wrong or whatever. But I am prayerful and hopeful that, yes, there is someone or two that's in the background saying, okay, girl, let's kind of reel it in. Let's talk about this. How can I help you move through this? You know, whatever. I am praying that there is someone back there in the background that's like, okay, deal, right? Let's sit over here for a minute. Let's take a break. Let's talk. Let's chat. You know, so I am hoping that she does have someone that is just behind the scenes saying, "Come on, Mo, I know you're upset, but let's figure out how to do this a different way."
Right, Regina, you're on mute, Regina. We can't hear you. We can't hear you. Is she on mute? Let me see. No, she's not on mute either. So we're going to keep going. And Netta, you want to get the therapy card ready? Because this is the perfect time for that. Because I'm telling you, our people are, we're the five of us that are sitting here. We're being judged by Monique's behavior. Unfortunately, this is why I'm speaking about it. We're being judged as a whole by Monique's behavior. Black women are this, and black women don't know how to control themselves, and black women got big mouths, and black women always got to act up. Oh, look how she doing this. As a whole, we're being judged. And I just want anybody who's listening from anywhere else that is not immediately is not connected to black women directly to understand that's not how we act. That's not how we behave. That's not how we handle things. Because most people in other countries, most people, of different races, they see what the media puts out. They don't see the five of us in our homes nurturing our children. They don't see the five of us, doing things that we need to do. They don't see the five of us speaking, about scripture, pouring into our husbands, our boyfriends. They don't see that. They see love and hip hop. They see the Real Housewives of Atlanta. They see Monique on the stage going off. That is not who we are. And I don't want to be represented that way when she has millions of people who follow her. And millions of, not only when you do something like that, like if I put something on social media, it's just not, if I got 99 followers, it's just not my 99 followers. It's 99 followers sharing with 99 other followers, sharing with 99 other followers, sharing with 900 followers, getting to somebody's page. And y'all are on a viral level of this is what you got other countries thinking about us. And I refuse to sit here and condone that behavior, whether she was not paid right or whatever. We cannot clap our hands and stomp our feet and say, well, y'all don't know what it feels like to be a black woman. Yes, I do. I absolutely know what it feels like to be a black woman because I am a black woman. I absolutely know what it feels like to be shunned because I'm a black woman. I absolutely know what it feels like to be passed up. I absolutely know what it feels like to be paid less. But I absolutely decide to carry myself in a classy, respectful manner to myself first, and then to those who come behind me. Come on in, Netta.
So we have.
Can y'all hear me now?
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead, Gina.
Y'all can hear me?
Yep.
I can't hear
We can hear you.
Uh-oh, she's breaking up again.
I'm going to talk. I won't be out of pocket, so you don't have to mute me.
She said, I won't be out of pocket. Go ahead, Gina.
Uh-oh. We can't hear you.
Come on in now. Come in with the therapy card, Netta.
Okay, so we don't normally do our weekly therapy card by Dr. Ebony, and it's the My Therapy cards, and you can get them online, mytherapycards.com. Our card for this week says, "How does your body respond to feeling anxious and or overwhelmed?"
Woo!
And then it says, the task is to write down what you notice in your body, muscles, breathing, chest, stomach, etc. So how does your body respond to feeling anxious and overwhelmed?
Ooh, that's a good. Well, I get pain in my joints. That's how when I'm anxious, overwhelmed, stressed, my body is either my joints hurt or my stomach hurts. Like my digestive tract is all messed up. Like I will have acid reflux like a mug, and I really don't have it. But that's when I know that I need to let something go because my body. I'm like, hey man, what's wrong with me? And then I'll know that I'm really stressed out. Or like again, my back tells it all. My lower back, even if I'm lying to myself, and this is what we got to realize too. Even when you're lying to yourself, you can't lie to yourself when it comes to your body. You could say, "Oh, I'm not stressed," or "I'm not mad at that," or "I'm not," because I do it sometimes. I'll be like, "Oh, that didn't even bother me," but then my lower back will say, "Yes, it did," and I just be like, "I really got to let this go because I haven't," and that's how I know.
I can't hear.
Go ahead, Gina. We can hear you now.
We can hear you.
What?
We can hear you.
Me? Oh, y'all can hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, sucky. I'm going to try now. I'm going to try. Okay, this is what I was going to say. All right. I think that all of us have an inner Pookie.
Oh,
And sometimes, okay, all right, I knew y'all were going to do that. I think when you have the platforms as long as they've been on stage, movies, all these other platforms where they talk. Comedy, their voice and how they speak is what people are used to hearing. And a lot of times there's some pookiness going on in their comedy. So sometimes when it's a serious situation where you really need to handle it more professionally and not on stage, but their life is on stage. What they do, their business is speaking to people, whether it's in comedy, whether it's in acting, or what have you. And I don't think for that moment when she spoke that she thought, maybe this is a back channel conversation that I should have with the people that helped me with the contract. Maybe even talk to DL offline, not in front of anyone. But I think because she's so used to being in the light, and that's been her stage, right? I don't think she realized that it could have backfired because she was coming out of hiatus with the other people that we talked about. So unfortunately, if you've ever heard any of her comedy, she's always been rough. And if you like that type of comedy, you like her. I've liked her some, and I also like some of the positive stuff she's done as well. But she is rough. You have to have an appetite for some of the stuff she says, because you know, I'm, you know, I like some of it, but I wouldn't say it. You know what I mean? But I think she felt that she could say whatever she want because people are used to her being like that in her comedy. But this would have been a great opportunity for Ebony and Essence to have a symposium on women that are actresses and comedians and such that may not always get their fair share. And she
mm,
could have really turned it into a platform of positive interaction and not even get mad at DL Hughley because he's not responsible for what they said she's going to get. That's not his job. His
right,
job is to take care of his contract because his contract takes care of his family and what he does.
right.
So
And
his Pookie was on his shoulder saying, "You got to clap back because she did this to you in public. So his
Oh, yeah.
man Pookie was like, yo, son, what you gonna do? And maybe the man in him that speaks on his radio shows and is really intelligent and speaks a lot of positive stuff, maybe he took a little nap while the other version of Pookie came out. And Monique's Pookie was all for everyone's glory. You know, she was just out there. And it's
That's
sad because I mean, she had a point. She had a valid point. But when you're yelling and screaming at people, they don't hear what you're saying. They're listening to how you sound. And that
right.
was the unfortunate part, that the way she delivered the message, the tonality and the setting of what she was speaking to was not the best forum for that. And now she's getting that response. And I can't co-sign on that because as a woman, I want my daughters to be able to handle themselves. I want them to speak up for themselves and not be taken advantage of, but do it in a way where you'll be heard,
Yes.
where you'll be listened to, where you'll be at least respected for the way you carry out your complaint and your valid concern. And I
Yeah.
think, if anything, this teaches us that even though we may be invited to the party, somebody else could pull our card at any given time. So we do
Yes.
have to be mindful how we carry ourselves so we can be treated with the respect that we deserve. And I think that she was saying, I need to be treated with the respect, but the way that the message was delivered, you know, Pookie was doing more talking than anybody else at that point.
Yep.
So
And she
both of
has,
their
but
Pookies
she
need to,
has to. She's
need
gonna
to
have to
chill.
take. She's gonna have to take the brunt of her behavior.
Mm-hmm.
She's gonna have to deal with her consequences, unfortunately. And one good point that Gina made is that you cannot disrespect a man, even though I'm so disappointed that DL Hughley would do that. But if you come on a platform like that and you play him out and say, what does DL stand for? Down low? Like, yo,
Woo.
like you can't, like that's like a horrible thing to say to a person who has a wife and children. Not that there's anything wrong with what other people do, but to attack his manhood, and I'm just disappointed that he felt like he needed to say something. So Netta, can you read the card again, and then we'll go around and answer the question.
Yes, the question is, how does your body respond to feeling anxious and or overwhelmed?
Theo, you want to come in?
So I would say my body responds differently in different scenarios. So anxious is normally maybe a fast beating heart, like adrenaline starts pumping. Overwhelmed, I get really focused and kind of isolate, right? When I'm really upset and can't say what I want to say, I know I shouldn't say what I want to say. I may cry, right?
Right.
So, like when I get to a point where I like, want to have my inner Pookie come out, but I know it's not appropriate, right? Right? The tears do the talking for me, right? But yes, I would say there's different, reactions, but I'm more of I'm gonna go inner. So you're not gonna really see or feel it. I'm gonna just like really kind of just go into my own little cocoon and just that's it.
I love it. So your body reacts with tears. Regina, how does your body react?
I start shutting down.
Wow.
I just start shutting down and start eating.
Oh.
Oh my God. It just, I get overwhelmed. I'm shutting down. I'm not talking to you. I don't know what you're saying. I might say something crazy, not like yelling and screaming. It just starts not making sense. And then I'm just eating, just not even hungry, just eating and snacks. and then I know that something is wrong. So I've done enough work to know when it happens. That's when I turn to my walking. So,
Wow. Yes. And I really want to say to you, Regina, I'm so proud of seeing you in that element of walking. I'm so proud of you sharing that with us. Like, I'm really proud of your growth over this year. Everything that you're doing. I don't know if you see yourself, because sometimes we can't, of your self awareness, of falling back when you need to fall back and stepping up when you need to step up. I'm so like amazed at all the things that you do and how you come out of your shell. And even tonight you're glowing. And we know that you went through a personal situation recently that, you don't have to be here right now. And we're happy you're here with us. But I'm just thankful for you and just the amazing um, growth that you have and the wisdom and the knowledge that you bring to the conversation, and in such a calm spirit. Like, me, but you bring it, and it's a calm spirit of experience, of wisdom, and of just knowing who you are now, just being self-aware and loving yourself. And I'm just happy for you. I really am.
thank you. And you
Oh,
guys have all contributed to that. I love you guys, and when I tell you it's a tribe,
okay.
and
So
it's God sent, God
y'all
brought
can
us
hear me?
together. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I know
So,
this is crazy. All right. So I saw the question. So what do I do when I'm anxious to get overwhelmed? What I'm doing right now. I get nervous, check and make sure I'm all here, and wonder what the fudge pickles is going on right now. So, yeah, but when I'm just saying, y'all can hear me, but I can't hear anything. What the stuff is
All we
is
do is
going
speaking.
on?
She cannot
See,
hear
I'm gonna
us.
keep my inner Pookie. My inner Pookie is not coming up. I'm going to maintain my level of professionalism
Ooh,
and just smile and
stop.
be thankful that y'all didn't just say, you know what, we need to leave her out because she can't get with it tonight. So what I do with my body when I feel anxious is I try to calm down. My heart races a little bit, and I try to figure out what am I fit to do in this situation. So this is what I'm doing in this situation. I smile, I breathe, and I try to keep it pushing. And I tell Pookie,
uh-oh.
Come on, Netta.
Oh, help, Lord. Okay. um, when I'm anxious, my heartbeat increases in the pace. I can sometimes hear my heartbeat. I can hear it in my ears. My breathing is shallow instead of a deep breath. I feel it more in my throat. I'm throat breathing versus the way I'm supposed to, using my respiratory system. So that's anxious, sometimes sweaty palms. But overwhelmed, I get quiet, just really, really quiet and still. And I would like to say that I turn to prayer during that time all the time. I do most of the time, but there are times when I get in my own head, and that's not good. So
So, so now we have a few more minutes left. Thank you, ladies, for sharing, because these are vulnerable moments for us when we do these therapy cards. It is a moment for us to share with you. And if you want to put your comments in the chat, we would love to read them. What do you do? What does your body do when you get anxious or overwhelmed, so that we can just work through it and talk to you about it too? But let's just give some final words, some final thoughts to, if, let's do this. If Monique was your friend, what would you say to her? Or if DL Hughley was your brother, what would you say to him? You could pick either or. So anybody who wants to go first, if Monique was your girl or if DL was your boy, what would you say to either of them?
Hmm.
I guess it would start with questions. The main question, I think I would probably go to the female, talk to Monique and say, what was your end goal?
Oh, Lord have mercy. Lord, Lord, Lord.
What was the intention? Where was this going?
Wow.
And I think questions will unfold and the conversation will unfold from there.
Wow. I think I would go to DL Hughley myself and say, why would you even say anything to her? One, you know her history. Two, you know this wasn't going to go to a good place. And three, you didn't have to prove yourself to any of us. We already know you for the content of your character. We've seen you, we've heard you. So this really put a stain on you based on the fact of how she made you respond. So, as my boy HRJR would say, a hit dog will holler. So, did you feel like you did something wrong to her? Because why did you feel like you needed to go so hard to prove your point? You know what I'm saying? That's what I would have asked DL Hughley. Like, why you even bickering? And I'm not saying anything bad about us as women, but we bicker. Like, it's in our nature to, we got to say something, we got to do something, we got to we got to get our answer out, we got to get our point across. But most of the men that I know of a certain age, 50 and over, in my circle, I'm not talking about worldwide, but in my circle, don't engage in that type of behavior. So that would be my question to him. Why did you feel like you had to prove a point? Theo, Regina?
I don't know. Honestly, I think I will go with Monique because I tend to go after the female. Um, like, sis, are you okay? Like, what? Can we have a conversation? Like, do you want to talk about something? You know, as Michelle Obama said, what let's take the high road. What that has been, ever since she said that, when they go low, you go high. Not necessarily that was a situation, but couldn't that be another way that you could address this?
Right. That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. I like that, Regina. That because again, we have to learn how to gently course correct each other without feeling some kind of way or acting like somebody's doing something to you. And that's why I love the 4 agreements, because it says don't take anything personal. I love that, right? Don't assume anything. Do your best, right? So we have to really look at those things and bring those things to mind when we start acting crazy. Theo?
I think probably along the lines of Netta, I probably would have asked both of them, like, what are you hoping to get? Like, what's your end goal? What's your end in mind, right? With this situation. I saw a little article while we were here talking that it actually seems like it wasn't even all about money. It was about who was the headliner, right? And so I think ultimately I probably would do a combination of what everybody said. First is like, okay, but I would probably be like, we're both like, what's your end in mind? Like, maybe you guys want to sit down with a third party and try to mediate this out and resolve it, because you're both in this comedic world, right? You're going to have to, well, you don't have to work together again, but they're going to definitely cross paths again, right? So, perhaps suggest that they sit down with someone and try to work it out and mediate it and resolve it out of the public eye, right? And something Gina said also is hopefully involve those media platforms in a positive way where they can actually shed some light on one, right? Whatever the money issue is. But this seemed to be also something about headlining, right? So how do we resolve issues when we're not in agreement on how something should have played out?
And we have to learn to leave those egos at the door, right? And who in the world did y'all have read y'all contracts with y'all that y'all didn't know who was headlining from the beginning, right? So my understanding is, for me, whoever went last would have been the headliner for me, right? That's just my thought. But sometimes I've seen big name artists come on stage because they had somewhere else to go in the middle, but they wanted to perform for the audience. So when y'all did y'all contracts, why didn't you guys establish that from the beginning so we wouldn't be here? Because if that's the case, why didn't you just have them put on a flyer headliner Monique? Or you know how they have people's name and lights? Like all of y'all were in the same situation. So if this didn't have to do with money, which I saw some lawyers saying it had to do with money, but I also saw it had to do with her talking about headlining. If this didn't have to do with money, this is all ego. And again, like I said, both of y'all look crazy. Both. Okay, I said both of y'all, because since y'all acting ghetto, we gonna speak ghetto. Both of them look ghetto to me by even doing this on a public platform, and to not only to do it on that stage, but to continue for 2 or 3 days showing contracts that are blacked out and said, no, this is the right kind. We have to do so much better as a people. People listening, people, can we just do better as a people? Can we handle our situations behind closed doors? Can we not erupt and act black? That's why the term act black is the term. She acting black. Can we take that term off the table and not give people that type of leverage against us? And again, I'm tired of being represented by these people, right? I don't want to be part of this. And again, there's nothing that me, Netta, Theo, Gina, or Regina could do about this for other nationalities and other races and other people to separate us from this. We are all Black women. And when they see behavior like this, they say Black women. And that's why we're here on this platform to say that is not how we are. That is not who we are. That is not who represents us. We are here to encourage, motivate, and inspire other Black men and women to do great, be great, go higher, live a better life, to carry yourself in a way that represents us as a people, right? We are, and again, in Netta, we are, I'll go biblical, we are representation of Christ. Okay, so please don't put me in that barrel. Ladies, any last words?
No, I think you summed it up well. It's an unfortunate situation. I pray that they are able to work it out and come to some type of resolution. But also I pray that whatever situation, is going on internally, right? That even got it to the point that it's on. So, I just pray that, they find some peace in the whole situation.
And I'd like to say, I hope the resolution is as public as the disagreement.
I'm going to just sit back on that one. Regina, was you getting ready to say something?
Well, I was going to say, Netta had the final word. Look, I can't go after that.
That's what we do. But again, thank you guys. We thank you for tuning in. We don't take that lightly. It's a privilege to be in your life. Follow us on Instagram at W2W Show, W2W Show. Please subscribe to the New You Nation Network YouTube channel. And don't forget to share, because sharing is caring. And again, we believe that truth plus transparency equals healing. Remember, you are only as sick as your secrets. It's healing time. We'll see you next Tuesday for the Woman to Woman Show on the New You Nation Network YouTube channel. Peace and blessings. We love you guys.
Good night.
Good night.
Sister, I need to walk with me on this journey. Yes, hold me accountable, 'cause sometimes I need to know the truth. Sister, I love you. We're one on this journey.